Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Myron. I'm here today to talk about the Akashic Records and about the Akashic Record sessions. I'll also touch on the frequent asked questions, and hopefully, this will help to address some of the questions of my clients and future clients as well. So, first of all, what is the Akashic Record? In a nutshell, in using an analogy, we can see the Akashic Records as the universal library that will contain the information from the whole universe. We can think of now I'm gonna get a little deeper. If that's confusing, just go back to the first definition and stick with that. But getting deeper on the definition, we can think of the Akashic Record as its own dimension that permeates the whole universe. It is the net. So everything that you're doing is imprinting information in that net. Every thought you have, every emotion you have, and every past life you ever lived. So you're imprinting information in that net and it's getting all registered there. So when I access the Akashic Record, I can access that information and bring that to you. So when we do that, everything I'm doing is reading that information and receiving and giving or conveying that to you. It is yours and it's already there. So Myron, why do we need my uh, permission then? So we cannot access any information. The Akashic Records are protected by the Akashic Record Masters. We only have information to what is allowed to us. And as we grow our consciousness, more information is revealed to us. So that's why I do need your permission to access your own information. And as above, so below. So if there is a multidimensional aspect of the Akashic Records, then there is also a physical aspect of that. For us humans, that'll be in our DNA. So every molecule of DNA stores your own Akashic Record. You know, in 3D we see the DNA, but the DNA itself is multidimensional. So that is talking about humans' Akashic Records, but the planet has its records as well. That's a more complicated talk, but it's in the Akashic or in the crystalline grid and in the crystal caves. And that is the physical aspect of the earth, Akashic Records. But if that all got too confusing, then stick to the first definition, which is the infinite library. And during a session, what I do is again to get in that library, get one of the books, which is the book of your soul, opening that so I can read that to you. Now, I never do that by myself. I always get into the Akashic Records with the Akashic Record Masters, my own guides, and your higher self and your guides. So we're going to access information that is valuable to you. And that's why we have so much healing from the Akashic Record. It's not just because of the access itself, it's because of how we get there with the guides, and they get us there to heal some aspects or to reveal important information to your soul. Okay, so Akashic Records, how we access that, benefits. Now let's talk about some benefits of the Akashic Record reading. One is their energetic healing. Since we access the records with the masters, and they know what to do, they will unlock stuck energies in your life that are related to past lives and even sometimes related to your present life. So how those, and now let's give a pause here to define concepts so we can talk intelligently about this topic. Let's define as soul as the higher aspect of myself that will incarnate on earth. So when my soul incarnate, it will incarnate in a fractal. So me, me, Myron, right now, this is a fractal of my soul. And then if I look in the past, I'm gonna have multiple fractals, you know, myself now in the 3D, I'm looking just as a linear timeline. That's because we're 3D. Even if you say 4D, we still would see that as a straight line. We are linear beings. What I mean by being linear beings, try to uh, have two thoughts at the same time. You just can't. We have one thought at a time. It means our consciousness do one way. So we are linear beings. Um, when we go to the fifth dimension, line will bend and we'll start seeing time as a circle or as an spiral, and then you can see all of the aspects of your soul. And the ascended masters and the masters of the Akashic records, they are even higher than that, so they can see all of the past lives. And when they see your soul, they can see all of the facets of your soul. You know, for them it is not like it is just one thing; it is all together. Okay, so coming back to the energetic healing, as you have all of those fractals and we're all connected, if there are unresolved energies in lives that can affect your life right now. For example, if you had a life where you struggle with eating, you were starving in that life, maybe this life you're just eating a lot because unconsciously you have that need for food. You may have, and I can give my example, I struggle speaking in public about spirituality only. I have never had an issue to speak in public, but never about spirituality. I was always very discreet about this. And only now, after many years of study and um, self healing and inner journey, I'm able to speak my truth without any fear. Why I have that fear? Because I died in multiple lives when I got in touch with spirituality. I got there, people burned me, people killed me. So I had that unconscious fear and I had to solve that, to heal that. So it could open my throat chakra and speak my truth from the heart. So energetic healing is one of the major benefits, I would say. It also gives understanding of the current life's challenges. Since we're unfolding aspects of the past life that relates to your present life, you start understanding why you're going through the situations in your present life. You know, I mentioned the starvation, I mentioned my fear of speaking about spirituality and about the esoteric side. So why that? You think you have something for no reason. Oh, this is random. I can't do this or I can't do that. I just have this blockage. Well, there's a lot into that blockage. You know, when we're born, we're already born with such a heavy backpack. We have all of our past lives to resolve. They're resonating in our field. And we also have ancestrality. You know, we also have the traumas from our ancestors. So we bring that with us. And as we get more aware, we start unfolding those aspects and healing those aspects. Okay? So energetic healing, it's great. Understanding current life challenges, it is great. I also find pretty nice, pretty fun to know what I was doing in past lives, just for to fulfill my rationality and my curiosity. So every time I open my records or I have someone else opening my records, man, it is always a great finding for me. Oh, I was a fisherman, I was a soldier, and that also teaches me a lot. It always teaches me about something in my present life. And it gives me perspective. That's the third benefit, perspective. You will see that during this maybe the past 12,000 years, we were learning, Earth was learning about duality. To learn about duality, you need to be on both sides, you know. So we had both experiences. In some lives I had done great things, but in others I had done bad things. So I could be on both sides. And this is the time to integrate that, to integrate both perspectives of duality so you can live more neutral, being the center. By neutral, I mean being in balance, being centered, understanding that even our shadows, they come to teach us something. Like, I believe every shadow hides a gift. Once you enlight that shadow, you're gonna have a gift. And the Akashic Record reading teaches a lot about perspective. So I will give those three as the main benefits: energetic healing, understand current life's challenges, and also perspective. I'm gonna say that the energy we access there, it's more important than the knowledge. We bring information, you can hear the audio and understand more about that, but the energy, in my opinion, is the most important thing. Okay, and now I'm gonna give you two types of past lives. I can even mention three. Because the readings are different, they're all very personal. I learn a lot reading your Akashic records, to be honest, because I can see more perspectives. I already did a lot of perspectives of myself, and I keep reading, so I get to know more perspectives of other people. And for me, this is such a professor, such a teacher, you know. And I'm honored and grateful uh, for being an Akashic record reader. But let's put three different uh, types of openings here. I'm gonna define that with you. So the most common one that will appear is the past life. Okay, what does that mean? I'm gonna go there in the Akashic record. Your guides and my guides will direct us to a past life. I'm gonna read. I'm gonna see that past life as a movie, and when it's done, when the masters showed everything they wanted for that session, we can go to the other side of the veil and heal that fractal and rescue that fractal. What does it mean to rescue your fractal? It means to heal those aspects in your present field. So let's say I gave the hunger example before, In this present life, I was just eating too much. Okay, so I was eating too much because this one was starving. So starvation is a thought form, you know. And then as I go there and heal that fractal, it is not resonating like that anymore. So the thought form you have, it is not resonating with something else. So it is easier for you to break that pattern and develop new habits. So, boom, coming back to rescue fractals. The other thing is getting knowledge, getting skills. You can get skills from past lives. I have gotten some. One, oh yeah, one is to see and understand sigils or uh, geometry patterns, sacred geometry patterns. That is one. Healing with the hands. That's another one that I anchored or mined. Let's call mine the Akash or mine the Akashic records. So as we rescue those fractals, we're mining the Akash and we're bringing those skills and those spiritual tools to your present life. Okay? So those are past lives. And as we do that with the guides, typically the guides also explain why that life was revealed and unfolded to you, how that resonate or affect your present life. And there is another type of opening that I call opening the present life. That is much more symbolic. It is a talk to the guides. We get there in the library, we sit with the guides, but instead of reading past lives, they read energies and then bring energies to you that you need. You know, either looking forward into the future and giving you advices, or reading what you're doing right now and giving you advices on how to improve, and sometimes giving you spiritual tools, artifacts, astral artifacts that you can use to connect with different aspects. Those lives, they are typically, or those readings are typically shorter, but I feel that many of them are more intense energetically. So we can open past lives, present lives, and I'm gonna give a third type today. There are more, but I won't get into them right now. Even this third one, it is very rare, but it happens and it has happened to me. And it is life in different orbs, lives in different planets. So the record has everything. Like your DNA shows your lineage. And if you're ready to see that, the Akashic Record Masters will allow me to go through that experience. And then we can discover your lineage. We can see the brothers and sisters that are walking with you. Nowadays, in the planetary shift, it is so much easier to connect with them. And we can do that through the Akashic Records. Those lives, they are typically very different. I don't want to say weird. I'm gonna just use the word different. Uh, and they can be confusing. And the reason is that many of those lives, they are not in the third dimension. They are in higher dimensions. So every information, that's another good point. I will big and open parenthesis here. But every information that I'm receiving, or actually any other uh, reader is receiving from other dimensions, it is just an interpretation of that information. We live in 3D, and imagine like trying to understand multidimensionality being in the third dimension. It's gonna be just a perspective, just an interpretation of that. So I'm gonna receive that packet of information, and I will use my pineal gland, to understand and interpret that information. Okay, so that is important. That's important to see so many things. So I'm interpreting information and giving that to you, and I work on myself, and I'm gonna touch on this a little later, but I work on myself to be the purest channel I can be. So receiving that and getting all of my intellect out of that, just to receive the information and give as it is, as I received. Okay. All right. Closing this parenthesis to talk about lives in different planets and different orbs. So we're receiving that multidimensional pack of energy and interpreting that with our pineal gland, and those lives can be multi dimensions, multi dimensions. So you can be living more than one body at the same time. For example, I have opened one record that was like that. It was an alien being living in 12 different bodies. I mean, I didn't want to say weird, but yes. And that's why we don't have those many readings in lives in different orbs. It's because it is too much. It is a lot. Not many of us uh, can understand what's going on beyond the veil. But as we keep unfolding layers and layers and layers of ourselves, we're gonna get there. And the masters, they always open what is more relevant to you. They don't want to open an Akashic record to give you an information that will make you confused. That is not the intent. And to be honest, they don't even care if we call them differently. Like, if it is Pleiadian and you really want to know if your star seed is Pleiadian or Syrian. I have heard that from so many star brothers and sisters. They'll say, well, you know what, we were here anyway. We're here to work. We are loving beings. We are here with compassion and love to you, enter into your race. And we understand you're just trying to get to know more of this multidimensional realm. So for them, I mean, they loving beings, the ascended beings, they are just willing to help, willing to provide tools for us to get in that path in a smoother way. Okay. All right. That third one is a little different, but it also happens. Okay. And now, how does it happen? How does a session happens? So we don't need to interact. We don't need to call. We don't need to open camera or anything. You're gonna be doing what you're doing, and I'll be accessing your Akashic record reading. I do prefer that you be in a meditative state, and I send you a music for two main reasons. One, so you can receive the energy without focusing on anything else. People will, I have heard of clients having strong emotions like laughing, crying, having sometimes fear, peace. It depends on what type of information we're accessing and unfolding there. And body sensations, you may get like, I don't know, maybe you didn't have a leg in that, or you lost a leg in one life, and then you feel your leg numb, or your body, your arm will just raise because, I don't know, there was something wrong with your arm. Those type of things can happen, and some clients just don't experience nothing at all. Like, say, well, I didn't I didn't perceive anything. The more sensitive you are for energies, the more you feel. I'm gonna say that. Nowadays, when I sometimes I exchange readings, for example, with my wife, she's also a reader, and sometimes instead of opening my own, I open hers and she opens mine. And for me nowadays, I feel a lot. I feel a lot. I didn't used to, but nowadays I don't like to do anything else. Maybe sleeping, but not walking or anything. But again, that's why I ask you to uh, not be driving or doing heavy activities. If you want to do dishes, if you want to do light activity, that's okay. If you feel like you cannot sit for an hour long, that's okay. So that's one reason. The other reason is uh, the timing. As you feel those things happening in your body, and you're gonna listen to the audio later. It is fascinating of so many relates or testimonials I had when people got what they were feeling just with a meditation versus what they heard, what they listened, and the time matches. There will be a guy touching the third eye, the person will be feeling the third eye. So for the most rational ones, the more skeptical ones that don't know if they believe on that or not, and they receive that type of confirmation, it is nice. It helps to accepting that information, to live in that experience. But we don't need to be connected at the same time. We don't need to be seeing each other. We don't need to be calling each other. If you cannot be doing the meditation in the time being because maybe you're in a different time frame and you're gonna be sleeping, that's okay. That's okay. And remember, the Akashic Record masters, they are wise. It is a very wise system. Um, I remember scheduling one of those exchanges, and I was working by that time, but I said, you know what, that's gonna be okay. And I felt like the masters hold the energy of my reading for an hour long. I was reading, didn't feel anything. As soon as I stopped working, boom, I received that hour-long energy. Like, wow, man, it's coming out. you know, so it is a very wise and loving system. Okay. All right, and that's how it happens. And then some other questions I have received now, going more into the frequent asked questions. So, what happens before? You always say you're doing an anchoring, a prayer. So, I'm preparing myself in the field to get there. I'm getting in the mood and preparing my environment to be in the Akashic Record readings in a very protective way. So, I'm gonna anchor my guides. I'm gonna anchor my protection. I'm gonna close my space, my energetic space, so I can travel to the Akashic Records in a safe way and keep you protected as well. So it takes 10 to 15 minutes before I start recording the audio, just doing my prayers and anchoring. And after that, boom, I'm connected and I start recording the audio. And the other question is what happens after the Akashic Record reading? So as we unfold an energy, as we unfold that fractal, we heal that fractal, that energy keeps vibrating to you, and that can unfold vivid dreams, that can unfold different emotions. It can happen for some time. And typically the masters would just tell me, hey, this person needs 21 weeks to open the Akashic record again. This person will need some days. It's typically from, I think I said 21 weeks. I should have said 21 days. It's typically from 14 to 40 days. That's the usual time. But in some cases, it's less than that, and in some cases, are more than that. But the masters, and especially your guides, they keep working on that aspect after the fact. And what else? Oh yeah, why don't why don't I do that live? I also have received that question, and the reason is I already mentioned that we don't need to be there together because of the energetic field and how this is a energetic work. I have done some in presence or some live sessions, but some clients, they will just go through strong processes. They will unfold emotions because of the information we're accessing. And if they start crying or screaming for some reason, that can scare me. And I can kind of disconnect me for a second, and I need to connect again. So because of that, I prefer to do to close the field, prepare myself, go into the field. I get all the information I need, then I convey that to you, and then you can have your process. And after you read that, I always offer a call. If you have questions, we can talk to each other. I can help you clarifying any questions you may have. But the second reason is that when I record that and I send to you, you can listen as many times as you want. And some processes, they are like a meditation. You can hear them again, you can listen to them again, and you're gonna unfold more information or more energy because you're different. And I have heard many of my clients saying that. I remember when I was working on my website and I asked to some of my clients to write a testimonial if they were feeling to write that down. And I remember one of them said, "Man, it's been a while since I have the reading, and I'm listening to that again, and there's so much more than I realized. It's great that I'm listening to that again." And some other clients who just listen to that many times when they receive because they need to go through the process again, or sometimes when the masters are talking to them, it is like an activation. You're gonna do an inner journey just listening to them. So those are the two main reasons why I prefer to not do live. Okay, but I have done it and I prefer to do the way I do right now. Um, I'm gonna answer another question. This will be the last question for today. But what is a fractal? So I think I touched on this, but let's talk about it again. So let's use the word soul for the being that incarnate on earth. So the higher aspect of yourself. This being is gonna manifest different lives in different timelines or in different points of time. I don't want to use timelines now. So in points of time, okay? And each aspect, each facet of that being is a fractal. So again, I'm Myron right now. I'm a fractal of my soul. Okay. And for now, I will stick to this, but there are more portions of that. We could also talk about oversoul, monadic group, but let's save this conversation for later. But a fractal, then, it is one incarnation. Let's put that way. In a nutshell, it is an incarnation. And depending on how you look at, it is still living. It is still doing something in its own point of time. And if there are many unresolved questions, unresolved aspects, that's gonna vibrate and interfere in your field. So as you go there, you ask you that fractal, you get lighter, you get enlightened. Enlightened is a good word, a very misunderstood one, but a good word for this. Okay. Yeah, I think that's everything for today. I touched on Akashic Records, the benefits, types of openings, how the session goes, and some frequent asked questions. So I hope to have enjoyed this video. I would appreciate if you like and subscribe to the channel. You support us to keep growing, so this service and this support can get to other people. You have a great day. Whenever fractal, whenever point in time, whenever timeline you're watching that from. Have a good one.